Hello everybody, it's Ali over here bringing you the revisited review of the Samsung Galaxy S3. Now let's go and check it right out. So let's start with this revisited video review. Now the first and most you could say apparent aspect of the device, of course, is the hardware. Now this device is the titanium gray version, and it looks quite nice actually to the eye, because it has this I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it has this pattern like look, which gives it like a brushed metal look, but it is indeed plastic. I mean, you can clearly feel it when you put your hands up to it. Now as the device itself is quite thin. I mean, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but you can see it's thinner than my pinky finger. It's like, I know, half the thickness, something like that. So it's actually quite thin. Also the device itself is very curved on the sides, and also the display itself, I don't know if you can see it on video, but it goes like up to over here and then it curves backwards. So when you use it without a screen protector, which I do have on here, it's one of those that don't give off glare. It's an anti-glare screen protector, which I did manage to get on quite well without any bubbles or anything. So yeah, it is quite difficult to put a screen protector on this because of that curve on the display. Now, because the device is so curved and everything, it really feels good in the hand. I mean, it's very ergonomic, and when you put this device in your hand will not tire out after even long periods of time holding it because of the sharp edges. Now the device itself, on the back side, it has the Samsung logo, the LED flash, very powerful speaker, and an 8-megapixel camera. Now this does not have optical image stabilization, remind you. On the right hand side, it has just the power button. On the bottom, it has the primary microphone and the micro USB port. Let me just put that in focus. Alright, it has a micro USB port and the microphone, the primary microphone. On the left hand side, just has the volume rocker. Up top, it has a 3.5mm headphone jack and the secondary microphone for noise cancellation. On the front, it has the power button flanked by two capacity buttons, the menu button and the back button. On the top, it has the Samsung logo, the loudspeaker, the 2.1 megapixel camera, and there is the light proximity and light sensor, and over here there is an LED notification. Okay guys, so now let's have a look at the display itself. Now the display is 4.8 inches, the resolution is 1280 by 720, and I know that nowadays there are the Full HD displays like the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, Galaxy S5, and also some Quad HD displays like the LG G3. But to tell the truth, I have this 720p. I do also have a smartphone with the 1080p display, but you're hard pressed to find a situation where you think that this is not sharp enough. I mean, 720p display on a 4.8 inches is more than enough. You really can't see much pixelation or anything. So the display is very crisp and sharp. It has excellent viewing angles. They really are very good viewing angles. The only discoloration you may see is from a little bit of the shadow from the back display I have on the back. But for example, if you shift it right over here, okay, now you can see that. Let me put this in focus. Alright, now as you can see, there really is little to no distortion when changing the viewing angles. Maybe just a little bit at the most extreme angles, just a little bit on the top over here when you get at really that 179 degrees angle. But apart from that, the display has really great viewing angles, as you just saw. So yeah, the display is really sharp, excellent viewing angles. Now since this is an AMOLED display, when there is a black display, that part of the screen is those pixels are off, so you are turned off. So let me show you in a photo. Let's go into download it. and as you can see right over here, the display, I mean, you really can't tell if the display is on or off, because the colors are so deep blacks, such deep blacks. And when you're looking at the whites also are really clean, crisp. They just have the slightest bit of tint of blue, but it really is nitpicking. As far as the color representation goes, the screen is you could say a bit saturated, and that, don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing, and the reason for that is because that little bit more extra saturation really makes the colors pop. They really come in your face, the sort of colors, so it really does make the colors look excellent. Like for example, if you go into this photo right over here, you can see the oranges really are very vibrant, and also the contrast is really excellent. As far as the display goes, it really is an awesome panel. Okay, so now let's talk about the software. Now on this device I have Android 4.3 running, and don't take my word for it, I'll show you right now. Here it is, Android version 4.3. so it is running the latest software available for this device, and but on top of that, on top of stock Android, there is the TouchWiz UI. Now this is pretty much a matter of personal preference, because love it or hate it, TouchWiz is there. So I personally don't mind it. I mean, you know, it's a good operating system. It takes makes really good use of the Super AMOLED technology, making displaying very vibrant colors that are really appealing, make the display very pleasing to the eye. Now this also comes with some downsides. The TouchWiz UI itself is very heavy. In fact, if you go into the RAM management, you can see right over here that out of the 1 gig of RAM, you have 677 megabytes used up by the system itself, which only leaves about 300 megabytes left for apps and stuff. And that's not because I have installed a lot of apps, because even when this came out of the box, it was about 600 megabytes were already used up by the operating system itself. So it is a very heavy skin, and also there are these bleeps and bloops sounds when you do the device, which may annoy some people. Now in the notification shade, this is a really good notification shade, because you have all these extra options which you can access by two finger scroll, all these toggles, and there really are quite a lot. But apart from that, they still manage to keep this very very clean. In fact, there is quite a lot of room for your notifications. You just have your toggles right up here, and your brightness level controller. You can go from a minimum to a maximum, of course, with auto brightness. So in terms of responsiveness, the system is quite responsive. After all, running under the hood, there is a quad-core processor at 1.4 gigahertz and 1 gigabyte of RAM. Now, I wish it was just a bit more than 1 gig, but it's not bad. I mean, it's acceptable. And it does manage to keep the system pretty fluid. In fact, it's rare, but still you do encounter some jitters and a bit of lag every now and then. For example, if you open a game, a very heavy game, and play it for quite a while, after a little while, when you turn to the home screen, the home screen has to load up back again. So that does tend to become annoying if you are a very heavy gamer. So apart from that, the system does run quite smoothly. In fact, even with the latest apps, it can run them, and even with the latest game, it does run them no problem. It does not have slow frame rates or anything like that. The system does run all these pretty well, and also watching videos on this display is quite a pleasure. In fact, there is the combo of this amazing display and really loud speakers is an excellent combo. The only gripe is that this is back rear facing, so it does tend to shoot the audio away from you, which is a bummer. But apart from that, there are no complaints in the multimedia hub. in the multimedia aspect of the device. Now let's head to now in terms of web browsing. This device is quite capable. In fact, the stock browser is quite good. It does have support for Adobe Flash Player, so you can download and install Adobe Flash and use this on the stock browser. And you also have the incognito tabs, and it really is filled with tons and tons of options. You can also request the desktop site and everything. Really, in fact, this browser really is a very good browser, also with plenty of gestures, like for example pinch out to view all your open tabs. And I do believe that they did retain this gesture that you put 2 fingers on the display and then you tilt the display to zoom in and zoom out. Now I don't use it very often because it's not very practical, to tell the truth. On the other hand, this device does feature a lot of gestures, but to tell the truth, many of them aren't all that much useful. The only one that I can tell that really are useful is the standby, the intelligent standby, because it looks at your eyes and keeps the display on as long as you're looking at it. So that is one feature that really is useful. Another feature that I personally don't use a lot is NFC, and but 2 features that really are very good features in this device are the energy saving mode, which lowers your clock speed, lowers the display brightness, and turns off the haptic feedback. This does help quite a bit with the battery life, which I will tell you later about. And another option that is very useful is multi-window. Now with this option, you can put two applications side by side. Like for example, you can put YouTube, and then on the other side you can put the web browser, and you can watch both video while searching the internet. So it is quite a useful feature. It does work. It doesn't crash or anything. It works really just fine, and it's a really useful feature. Okay, so a very important part in our everyday lives are pictures with our smartphone cameras. Now this camera has an 8 megapixel sensor. The camera is quite good. It tends to just a bit oversaturate. It saturates more than its saturation is just a bit kicked up. It tends to saturate the pictures just a bit more than they really are. So they aren't exactly true to life, but they do have quite a lot of detail. In fact, this photo was captured from a bit of distance, like 3 feet, something like that, and yet you can see quite clearly the very details of these photos. So the camera itself is a very good shooter. The front-facing camera is not all that great. I mean, it does get the job done, but it's nothing spectacular. It's a 2.1 megapixel camera, and yeah, that's about it. Video also can be taken with a resolution of up to 1080p with at 30 frames per second, and the output really is quite good. It's not optically stabilized, so it does tend to be a little shaky if you have very shaky hands. But apart from that, the camera performance is really impressive. I mean, you can take this and be confident that you can take some really good pictures with it. However, the camera does have a downside. It tends to consume a lot of battery life when you're using it a lot. In fact, the battery life as a whole on this device is not very good. I mean, next to an iPhone, it's a bit better than an iPhone, but not much better. In fact, I'm a pretty heavy user when it comes to smartphones and tablets, and I cannot get to about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the evening with this device. In fact, I tend to unplug it from the charger at like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I tend to use it pretty heavily. I watch a lot of YouTube, play some games, surf a lot on the internet, and generally it warms out at about 3 to 5, 6 p.m. in the afternoon, if not even less. So the battery life is not as stellar as I would hope it to be, but it is still acceptable. After all, it is just a bit better than the average iPhone. Okay guys, so in conclusion, the Samsung Galaxy S3, even though 2 years have passed, still is a good device. I mean, it's definitely not the latest and greatest in specs, but if you're willing to put up with the occasional lag and jitter, you really can't find a better deal. In fact, right now you can find it at around 250 euros without any contract or anything, of course, here in Europe. So for 250 euros, this really is a killer deal. In fact, it has Wi-Fi connections and everything, and it does have some pretty nifty features like the before mentioned multi-window. It does have decent battery life, not astonishing battery life, but decent battery life, really good display and a really awesome camera, and a decent build quality. So if you're looking for an all-around good package for around 250 euros, the Samsung Galaxy S3 really is the smartphone for you. Hope you like this review, guys. Hope it was useful, and if you like this review, help us out, subscribe to the channel, share this video around on all the social medias, comment down below if you have any suggestion or any sort of videos that you would like us to do, and we will surely do it as soon as we can. So yeah, like the video, comment down below, share on all the social medias, and remember guys to subscribe, because we literally don't have any right now. So keep tuned in, guys. I'll see you in the next videos. Peace.